Okay, so this next one, applying for a credit card hurts your credit score. Is that true or false?
True.
Unfortunately, it is true, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
When you apply for a credit card, a loan, a lot of times that's what they call a hard hit on your credit. Or sometimes you may have heard like a ding on your credit. It's only 10% of your overall credit score. And when you do apply for credit, it is on your report for 2 years, and it does fall off after 2 years. Ideally, you do want to have those dings spaced out a few months at a time, and ideally not have a few on your credit report at any given time. But again, life happens, and at the end of the day, it is only 10% of your overall credit score.
And the great thing about those dings, they're on your credit for 2 years, but they only affect your credit score for 1 year.
Correct.
So you'll have that on your credit report, but it's not affecting your score. And I had a woman actually email me this morning, and we had done all this work on improving her credit. And she said, Tanya, I bought a car this weekend, and guess what? My credit score dropped. And it's like, well, that's gonna happen, sweetie, because you took out new debt. It's gonna happen, but continue to pay your bills on time, continue to keep those other utilizations low, and you'll see your credit score rebound in no time.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Yes, I know, but you guys, it is so tempting when you're out, there's a lot of sales going on, you know, doing a little shopping spree. All of a sudden, you know, you're getting up to the cash register with all your great finds, and you're thinking about the damage that's done, right? You're kind of adding it up in your head already. And the lady on the other end of the counter asks you, would you like to save 20% by starting a store card today?
Yes, and it sounds so good. You're like, absolutely. Who doesn't want to save 20%?
It's a big chunk off, 20%.
Right?
Yeah, but
Nothing
what
to
they
sneeze
don't
at.
tell you about that is those cards are usually really high interest rate cards. And so you might save 20%, but they might charge you 25% in interest. So actually you're spending 5% more if you don't pay that balance off immediately.
Right.
Going back to that first one we talked about, paying that balance off immediately.
Yep.
Yep.
And easier said than done, depending on the damage you've done. Are you going to be able to pay it
know.
off in full, right?
That's right. And like you said, even just the look hurts you. If you decide not to do it, them looking at it
just
affects
looking,
your credit score.
And so if they deny you, you're still going to get a
Correct.
ding.
Yep. All right, let's move right along here. So next one, paying cash for everything will improve your credit score.
That is actually false.
It is false, but
Yeah.
I could see how this would be a really common misconception, right?
Yeah.
You're a responsible consumer. You're not having a lot of debt.
Right.
And
Didn't
you're
open any
paying
cards.
in cash,
Yeah,
right?
especially if you're working on your budget, you know, you're trying to create boundaries and so forth, so you're paying for cash.
Right.
They always say cash is king.
Right.
But when it comes to your credit score, it's not.
Yeah, if you don't have a credit card, any sort of payment history, they don't know as far as, you know, institutions, if you're wanting to borrow money from them, if you're going to pay them back or not.
Yeah.
One thing to keep in mind, there is 2 types of credit. So we've been talking about credit cards a lot, and that's what we call revolving credit.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, it's like if you put $100 on your credit card and you pay it off right away, that $100 is immediately available to use again, kind of like a revolving door. The other piece is installment credit. And so for that, think student loans, a car loan, a home loan, certain number of months, certain number of installments, and then it's paid off, right?
Yeah.
So we've been throwing out a lot of percentages. Another one is 10% of your credit score is also what we call the credit mix.
Yeah.
Do you have both of those types of credit, revolving and installment? If you only have one and not the other, it's not the end of the world. Again, only 10%, but be aware of those 2 different types.
Yeah, because banks want to see you properly manage different types of credits. Like you can pay your credit card, but can you pay a mortgage?
Exactly.
And when you can pay both, it's like, okay, they're responsible and can handle different types of credit available to them.
Yep. Okay, your income has an impact on your credit score.
That's false.
Yep.
A lot of things have an
false.
impact on your credit score, but not your income. Thankfully,
Thankfully.
what
Right.
you make, who you are, your gender, your religion, those factors do not affect your credit score.
Yes,
Exactly.
absolutely. And this really levels the playing field a bit too, because even if you may have a low wage, you can still keep a really high credit score
Exactly.
by paying on time, right?
Yes.
That's the biggest
Yes.
So I think that that's really important to know and a good hope for a lot of people who maybe don't make $1 million a year. They can still have a really great credit score. Now, on the other hand,
Exactly.
someone who does make millions of dollars could have a really poor credit
They
score.
could.
Exactly.
And there's not a direct correlation. Like just because you make a lot of money doesn't mean you have a good credit score. Just because you don't make a lot of money doesn't mean that you have to have a low credit score.
Yeah, and I really like this one too because I think the income question is a lot of the confusion out there, just because it makes sense to assume that how much money you make might affect your credit score. but it does not.
Yeah,
So
it
it's
can
nice.
affect a lot of things, but not your credit score, thankfully.
Yeah, it should be said that applying for certain types of installment loans, they will look at your income in conjunction or in relation to your credit
Definitely.
score as well too. So while it may be an important factor in some things, it just doesn't impact the score itself.
Absolutely. That's a great point. Make sure you dig in and explore all of our tools, support, and education. And don't forget to check out all of our courses. See you soon.